Okay, so we'll start with Dan. The first question's kind of designed as an opening statement. So question one, both of you have been classroom teachers. What led you to this profession? And you have 2 minutes. Dan?
Yes. Sorry, is this the opening statement?
Yeah, and we're going to start with a question that kind of gives you the opportunity. It's both of you have had both of you have been classroom teachers. What led you to this profession?
Oh my goodness. Great question. Thank you guys all for having me. Real pleasure to be here. So growing up, when I was in eighth grade, I watched a movie called Stand and Deliver. And for whatever reason, the 14-year-old person that I was, it literally was a shot right to the heart. And I knew at that moment that I wanted nothing more than to be an urban math teacher. And I kind of spent like the next 30 years of my life avoiding it. So I went to college. I came out, I worked as an investment banker for a little bit. I worked in technology in the Bay Area at a couple of high-tech startups. And then in the early 2000s, came back down to LA and was excited to get involved in public education and really pursue my passion, but didn't get into it immediately. I helped open 17 charter schools with Green Dot Public Schools in the highest need parts of LA. I opened a philanthropy for LA Unified to raise money for critical programs in the district. And about 7.5 years ago, I'd been involved in education for so long. I stared at my computer one morning and I just couldn't bring myself to do any work. Like I was in public education and I was so tantalizingly close to the classroom, but I was not in it. And I knew at that moment that I couldn't go on unless I actually pursued that original passion, that dream that I had as a kid. And I literally dropped everything I did that moment. And it was April of 2018. And I said, I have to get in the classroom. I have to teach. And I can tell you that the last 6.5 years have been just unbelievably amazing and fulfilling. It's almost like I'm 48 years old, almost 49. And it's almost like in my mid 40s, I got to do my childhood dream. It's like some kids dream of being a ball player. And it's like at the age of 42 with 3 kids, all of a sudden you're playing in the big leagues. Like that's how it feels for me every single day when I go in the classroom. I love teaching math. I love algebra. I love pre-algebra. I love
This
the
time,
interactions and the relationships that I build with students. And
this time,
so
thank you.
that's why I'm here.
All right, thank you. Okay, Scott.
Thank you and good morning, Northeast East Neighborhood Council, Northridge East Neighborhood Council. Thank you so much for inviting me. Well, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I was the first member of my family to go to college. In fact, probably the first member of my family to graduate high school. But I love teaching. I had a wonderful, wonderful Spanish teacher in ninth grade who really inspired me, and I modeled her. Joan Lucas Boyer from 50 plus years ago. I still remember her as an excellent teacher. Always wanted to teach, always wanted to work with kids. And I think education is the way to help our kids to succeed in life. There is nothing more important than education for us. So I want to tell you that 50 plus years as a teacher, and then a counselor, then assistant principal, and then a principal. I know my schools very well. I believe in bottom up leading. I mean, you have to have the experience as a teacher to work your way up to a principal to know what's happening in schools. Since COVID, we had learning loss, but we're starting to close that gap right now. Very important for our kids to keep making progress going forward. A big supporter of the new pilot for community schools. I'm going to give that community schools a shot to see if we can actually help those 10 schools to show that over testing is not necessary. And the proof is a pilot. And I'm a big supporter of pilots. Instead of implementing something school-wide for every single school, let's start small. Let's start with pilots and let's find out. Just so you know, the only candidate supported by school police, the only candidate supported by the Democratic Party, and lots of people that we know in the Valley who are supportive of me, including Julie Kornstein and Adrien Nazarian and Bob Bloomfield, people who I think matter in our community. Also, Dennis Zine is one of my supporters also. I just want you to know that schools are in my heart.
Time.
Time is up.